Hi, brothers and sisters. Hope you are all doing fine. In this video, I would like to talk about chapter 8 of the book Hero My Sons, written by Brother Zach Punen. I would like to make two videos on this chapter, so this will be a first video on this chapter. I'll share my screen. So, Brother starts this chapter like this. One of the things I have discovered is that Christian growth is to a large extent dependent on being free from the opinions of other people. So, brothers and sisters, I have realized and realizing day by day in my spiritual life that becoming free from the opinions of people is like a big mountain and we have to fight with that every day. It may take some years to overcome in this area completely, but God will really help us. I would like to explain my experience using an example. So when I first flew in the flight for the first time, so I didn't know how the flight starts and how it takes off or something like that. So when my first flight, it started with a very high speed and just took off into the air and it was going higher and higher. I was really scared and terrified and afraid because I didn't know how the flight starts or how it takes off and how people will feel inside when it is taking off. So I was really afraid, and then I really felt like dying. And after the flight has gone into some height, and I was still scared. And at the time, a thought came into my mind. Let's say if I die in this moment, the next moment I'll be standing in front of God. And at that time, if some thousand people come to God and say that God Krupa is a very good person, send him to heaven or keep him in the heaven, or the next moment itself, some 10,000 people come to God and say that God Krupa is a bad person, send him to hell. Then I started to think, do those opinions of people will really matter to God at that moment? No. I realized that only the opinion of God will matter about me in that moment. That will decide where my uh, next stage of life would be, either in hell for eternity or in the heaven for eternity. So, brothers and sisters, at the time I decided in my heart that I wanted to live a life that will be free from the opinions of people. And I prayed in the flight itself in my heart, saying that God, I want to please you. I don't want to give opinion to anybody. But later, I failed many, many times again, pleasing the people. But God is helping me to overcome little by little in this area. Brothers and sisters, even God will help you also to overcome. So, and another thing I also learned in this area is that what Paul stated in the book of Galatians, saying that if I serve or if I please people, I can never be a servant of God. And I learned that it's not 50% pleasing people and 50% pleasing God. No, either I will be a servant of men or self, or I will be a servant of God 100%. So I'm growing in this area and God is helping me, and even God can help you too, brothers and sisters. Second thing I would like to mention in this video is about the fear of God. Brother writes about fear of God like this. God gave Abraham a certificate in Genesis chapter 22, verse 12. It is written there, and saying, now I know you are a fearer of God, when he was ready to sacrifice his only son. So in this place, brother is mentioning what is written in Genesis chapter 22, verse 12. We know the story, right? God asks Abraham to sacrifice his only son, and Abraham went to sacrifice him to God, and he was about to kill him. Almost he killed him, Isaac. And then God stops him suddenly, saying, Abraham, don't kill your son. Now I know you are a fearer of God. And that's where God gave Abraham a certificate that Abraham fears the Lord. And Brother Zach mentions that here. And I realized from this verse that even I can be a fearer of God when I sacrifice things to God and whatever God asks me to sacrifice. And over the days, I'm realizing that When God asks me something to sacrifice to Him, I'll go and pray to God saying that, God, I am offering to you as a sacrifice, keeping it on the altar. But within half an hour, I'm realizing that I've taken it back already from the altar. And this is a constant struggle for me not to take the things back from the altar after I have sacrificed them to God. Brothers and sisters, God is helping me, and God can help you also to overcome in this area and not to love anything more than God, and to be ready to sacrifice anything when God asks something from us. And another thing, Brother Zach also mentions in this chapter, that fear of God is one thing that will really help us to fight with the sexual lust. And Brother mentions the examples of Job and Joseph. And God will help all of us too, brothers and sisters. And this is uh, my honest testimony how God has been helping me in these areas that I mentioned in this video also. And God will help you also, brothers and sisters. I will show these in the summary slide, and I will stop. One of the things I have discovered is that Christian growth is to a large extent dependent on being free from the opinions of other people. Second thing is, God gave Abraham a certificate saying, "Now I know you are a fearer of God," when he was ready to sacrifice his only son. May God bless this video, and may God make these truths become real in our lives, brothers and sisters. Thank you.